EV2. Are they revealing this as a surprise? Lost the headlamp, lost the tail lamp, and you can buy this for under 20 million won. EV4, PV5, EV2. All had planned timelines, huh? Hello! This is today's Mocar Kim Han-young. Kia is really going crazy. If only the cars revealed here come out, wow, they might just overtake Hyundai right away. They've revealed cars that would be really popular even in the global side view mirror market. Now, while Tesla and BYD might not be at that level, they've still released a teaser for electric cars that will make everyone around the world drool, and you too will probably be amazed when you see them. There are affordable electric cars as well. There are even more affordable electric cars in the 20 million won range. Commercial electric vehicles will also be released. Today, we will take a look at whether the electric cars that Kia has revealed in their teaser can truly shake up the market. Yes, the first car they revealed is the Kia EV4. If you look at the electric cars up until now, they all look like this. They look like this, and they're bulky, right? When you look at them, they were either SUVs, CUVs, or ambiguous hatchbacks, something like that. So the cars we originally wanted weren't in this form, right? The most sold cars in our country were the tinting Avante or K3, but those kinds of cars weren't available. That's why the Kia EV4 was released. It can be said to be Kia's first electric sedan. Many of you might not know, but in the US, there's a car called the K4 that's gaining tremendous popularity. It even became a finalist for the best steering wheel and is currently the best-selling Kia car in the US. It's that popular, and we even had a test drive. A car very similar to this K4 is going to be released as an electric car. The EV3 is already quite popular, but with the release of the EV4, these two cars will become the driving force for the popularization of electric cars. So it can be said that this is a very important car for Kia in the domestic electric car market. Now let's take a look at the physical contact videos that have been released. The front of the EV4 looks like this, the side looks like this, and the rear looks like this. Wow, isn't it cool? Actually, there was a car we saw as a concept last time, but this seems to be more stylish and neatly refined. Is this really a compact sedan? Or is it a mid-sized sedan? It's a bit strange, isn't it? When Kia talks about it, they call it a mid-sized sedan, but nothing about it makes sense. It doesn't look like a mid-sized car, and it feels really big, doesn't it? Kia states that the side profile of the EV4 features an innovative silhouette that breaks away from the conventional sedan stereotypes, showcasing the direction of Kia's next-generation electrified sedans. That's what they say. Until now, when we thought of a sedan, it was like a transmission. There's an engine in the front, right? There's a cabin roof, and there's a trunk in the back. This configuration of having 3 boxes is what we used to call a sedan, a 3-box car. But if you look at the rear line of the EV4, it extends out like this, stretching out long. This is commonly referred to as a long tail. In the past, long tails were somewhat of a transmission. In America, if you look at cars like the Cadillac Eldorado, Lincoln Continental, and Buick Roadmaster, they had these extended rear ends. These types of cars emerged right after World War II in the 1950s. At that time, although America had fought in the war, it didn't suffer any damage from it, leading to a period of massive overproduction. It was said that America was at its peak. Consequently, Americans at the time believed that bigger is better. So the bigger, the better. Big houses, big furniture, and big cars became the norm. Naturally, when it came to cars, they had to be big, leading to long tails. This resulted in the creation of oversized full-size sedans and motorcycle-style cars gaining popularity. Back then, these cars were often referred to as land yachts, as they were like yachts running on land. However, even in America, this situation couldn't last forever. Things changed significantly due to events like the Great Depression and economic crises. People started saying less is more and that smaller is better. As a result, motorcycle sedans became almost impossible to find, and they were seen as a nostalgic element of the past. But recently there have been efforts to revive the long tail. For example, with steering wheels, steering wheels like this, people say, wow, this is really cool. Kia seems to be trying to bring back the motorcycle style with the EV4. It fits perfectly with the current American atmosphere. Nowadays, with the Make America Great Again sentiment, people are hoping to revive the glorious past. It's a design that can evoke nostalgia among American consumers. Additionally, there have been discussions about various advantages of this design recently, including the shock absorber. One advantage is that the trunk space can be made much more spacious compared to a regular sedan. Secondly, aerodynamics are really being emphasized these days, and it becomes much more advantageous aerodynamically. Recently, when looking at aerodynamics, there's a lot of talk about how having a longer tail is beneficial for aerodynamics. For example, the Mercedes EQXX, which is the most aerodynamically efficient car in the world, has a long rear. So, there's talk that a teardrop shape where the rear is extended is best for shock absorber aerodynamics. With a design like this, the EV4 would naturally be aerodynamic, and I think it could have a longer driving range. The EV3 is said to be able to travel 501 kilometers with the same battery, so the EV4 could at least travel 530 kilometers. Don't you think, steering wheel? That's the kind of expectation I have. By European standards, it should go 700 kilometers. Let's take a closer look at the teaser video. You could say the design is almost identical to the concept. Both the front and rear showcase the Kia style with the star map signature. The rear lamps are positioned right at the edge, so when you follow the car from behind, it gives the impression of being a very wide vehicle. Kia is currently excelling at designs that make cars appear larger, and this will be more pronounced in smaller cars. Although I'm not entirely pleased with the charging port's location, like the EV3, it's positioned near the passenger side steering wheel. The reason I'm not fond of it is that typically having the charging port at the rear makes it convenient to reverse park and charge immediately. But with it at the front, you have to forward park the car, and if the cable is short, it becomes unusable. The cable needs to be long. Fortunately, unlike cars like the Kona EV or Niro EV, where the port is completely at the front, making it impossible to reach when reverse parked, this one is on the side, so as long as the cable is sufficiently long, it can still be used when reverse parked. This could be considered an advantage. The rear is better, but why do they keep placing the charging port at the front? Some people might say that, but typically EGMP vehicles have the charging port at the rear. However, this car, like the EV3 and EV4, is said to be based on the EGMP platform. But these two cars have incorporated the EGMP into a chassis originally designed for gasoline cars. As a result, most of the components have to be placed in the front engine room, which inevitably leads to the charging port being placed at the front. I wonder if it couldn't have been extended like a power strip to reach the rear. Also, couldn't they have provided a fast charging port at the front and an additional slow charging port at the rear? I also have such thoughts. The rear design is very sporty, and the overall design of the car is low and wide, so for those who dislike SUVs or coveys, saying I don't like bulky cars, they might feel that finally a car they can drive has arrived. Let's take a quick look at the driving. The platform is the EGMP platform. I feel like there will be comments about this, but let's focus on the side view mirror. The term EGMP has broadened now. Whether it's Hyundai or Kia, whether it's 800V or 400V, rear-wheel drive or front-wheel drive, if it's a dedicated electric vehicle, it's all referred to as EGMP. So, what about the steering wheel? EGMP is no longer a term for a specific platform, but has become a marketing term. Hyundai should step up and clarify this, and it seems they will soon. So, what does the EV4 include? It features a front-wheel drive EGMP platform using a 400V system. The battery for the standard model is 58.3 kWh, while the long-range model uses an 81.4 kWh battery. The expected driving range is in the high 300 km to mid 500 km range. It has a motor on the front axle, delivering a maximum output of 204 horsepower. A high-performance GT model with a motor on the rear axle is expected to be released later. When the EV4 GT comes out, it is anticipated to be a much more powerful electric fun car than the Avante N, making it an exciting electric sedan to drive. But the most important thing is the price, right? How well will this car sell? President Song Ho-sung mentioned directly that the annual domestic sales volume of the EV3 is about 30,000 units, and he says that the EV4 can also be sold in similar quantities domestically. Oh, really? So, will they sell over 60,000 units of just the EV3 and EV4 domestically? Wow! I believe it's possible. I think it can happen. The issue so far hasn't been a lack of demand for electric cars, but rather a lack of electric cars themselves. The models were too expensive and too different from the general public's taste. Yes, the most important thing would be the price. When they first revealed it at EV Day, they mentioned the price like this. EV3, EV4, and EV5 were said to be between $35,000 and $50,000. Does that mean the EV4 will be more expensive or cheaper than the EV3? President Song Ho-sung mentioned at this year's New Year's meeting that since the EV4 and EV5 will be in a higher segment, compared to the EV3. They plan to release them according to the price gap between segments. Why is the vehicle class going up? The EV3 is an SUV and the EV4 is a sedan. Both are somewhere between the B segment and at most the C segment. So why is it said that the EV4 is moving up in class? Does that make sense? Originally, when a sedan was released and then an SUV based on that car came out, they would say, since this is an SUV, we need to raise the price a bit, and the price would go up. But now, when an SUV comes out and then a sedan follows, it seems like they're saying, oh, the sedan is more premium. See? So the sedan is moving up in class and becoming more expensive. That's what it feels like they're saying. Of course, a sedan uses less sheet metal than an SUV, hakso. So the cost should be lower. Please keep the steering wheel price lower. While the EV4 is indeed a sedan, what other advantages does it have over the EV3? I think the price should be the biggest advantage. Currently, the EV3 standard model starts at 39,950,000 won, so the EV4 should at least be 38,000 won. Let's hope for that. 38,000 won. Let's go. With subsidies, it would be 90,000 won. Everyone would buy the EV4. Not just 30,000 units, let's aim for 100,000 units. Next is the PB5. The PB5 is not an ordinary car. If we had this car, our lives would change. Why do you say it like that? Until now, cars have been a means of transportation. But now, being a means of transportation is a given. And now it's a space. That's how it's being talked about. In fact, cars have been spaces all along. Although we've talked endlessly about cars being spaces, there weren't many cars that truly embodied that idea. Cars were just something you rode as they were given. In some ways it was a bit funny, because of cars like the Carnival, there are 2 seats in the front, right? There are 2 seats. 2-seat transmission, 3-seat transmission. It's a 22 3-seat configuration. But if you look at the last row, it's like a seat you can't sit in, with a side view mirror. Why was this made? That's the feeling. It's just a seat made for the bus-only lane. How do you actually seat a person there? Anyway, in the end, the Carnival is this big, but only 6 people can ride. Does that make sense? There was practically not enough space inside the car to decorate anything. We often refer to the Carnival as Dad's room. We used to talk about it like this, but those who have used it say it's not that easy. So, what? Do you take out all the seats? What are you supposed to do with all the seats? They say it doesn't work out in the end. The PB series can be considered a car that somewhat satisfies those issues, if you want to decorate it like a reception room. Do you really want to make something like a transmission camper van? It's really possible. Do you want to set it up as a 7.1.4 motorcycle music listening room? It's possible, right? Do you want to make it a car for AV? Not that. Hold on. You mean you can make it into a car for audio and video, right? Anyway, the point is that you can create a space just for yourself or for your business. Depending on the size and purpose of this physical contact, there are various options like PV1, PV5, PV7, which differ in size, and they are further divided into branches. Depending on the need, whether it's the size, a means of transportation, or if it will be used for autonomous delivery without any passengers, they plan to supply cars in various ways. Now, among the PB series, the medium-sized PB5 will be the first to be released. PB5 is a size that can be widely used due to its versatility, so it is expected to be the most popular. The car is codenamed SW1. Let's take a look at the currently disclosed usage methods. The transmission is set like this. First, if a passenger model is made to carry passengers, what could it be used for? First of all, it could be used for car hailing, like taxis and such. Recently, the Carnival is often used as a taxi, but since it's actually a private car, it might not be the most suitable for taxi use. Private cars and taxis have completely different purposes, so it should be designed to fit the taxi purpose to some extent. Additionally, it could be offered as a vehicle for official use, with better interior design to make more efficient use of space. The car's length is slightly shorter than the Carnival, but it has a 2-3-seat configuration, so it seems, it could somewhat replace the Carnival. The seat configurations are becoming really diverse. Currently, you can see 1 driver's seat, then 2, then 3, so a 1-2-3-seat configuration is also available. You might wonder why there's no need to put a seat next to the driver's seat. It has a transmission. In cases where a driver is driving and regular passengers are sitting in the back, you often see luggage being placed on the passenger seat. However, if there's a seat there, it might limit the amount of luggage you can carry. If you remove 1 seat, the amount of luggage you can load would significantly increase. Haven't you experienced this quite often with the shock absorber and transmission? When you go on trips abroad, for example, you might see a guide driving and guiding from the front of a minivan, but you can't place a suitcase next to them. In such cases, this would be very convenient. In a 5-seater, for instance, you have a 2-seater seat and a 3-seater seat, and normally the trunk space at the back is quite spacious, just like a regular car. But it seems like they also offer the idea of being able to slide the second row seats all the way back. What happens if you do this? You can create ample space in the middle to store various items. You could even fit a wheelchair. I think such a feature is essential for ensuring mobility rights for people with disabilities. Currently, people who use high-on-choice wheelchairs often take large taxis, but when you see them, they enter through the trunk. Does it make sense for a passenger to enter through the trunk? In contrast, British taxis allow side entry. British taxis are also very convenient for loading luggage. When you take a taxi from the airport with a suitcase, you don't have to ask the driver to open the trunk and load everything there. Instead, you can keep your luggage with you in the passenger seat, making it easy to take things in and out of your bag, which is very convenient. Additionally, a cargo model for freight has also been unveiled. British taxi transmission is also very good for loading luggage. The cargo model, also known as the delivery model, is said to come in 3 types: compact, long, and high roof. The BB5 basic body has been modified to have a cargo area at the back, and as you can see, the compact size suggests it can fit into various places. When entering underground parking lots, currently, vehicles like the Porter EV and Bongo EV have excessively high bodies. So there are many vehicles that can't enter, which leads to ongoing conflicts with residents. So what do we do now? Lower the height of the box truck. Then the height is so low that people inside have to work like this, almost crawling and bending their heads. It's really inconvenient, isn't it? They also make it so that the sides can open, but the height is fundamentally too low. The reason is that a car like the Porter has a very high floor, so if you lower the overall height, the height will be too low, so it's obvious what kind of cargo can fit in between. So even with the height of the Porter low-floor truck, the actual loading space is as high as the regular Porter truck, so it's much more advantageous. And in cases where there are no space constraints, it would be better to be able to load more cargo, so a high roof is also provided. In the case of a high roof, the ceiling is raised further on the inside so that more cargo can be loaded. The internal load pressure height is 1.8 mans, so most people can walk inside the load pressure. In the case of our long body, the car is made longer. The long body is made to load longer cargo or to load a larger amount of cargo. Was it really necessary to make it this far as an electric vehicle? It is necessary au revoir, because the Porter, Bongo and diesel models have all been discontinued. Something needs to fill that gap, which is why the Porter EV and Bongo EV are selling so well now. Honestly, it's really embarrassing. On a global scale, there are hardly any countries still using such vehicles. If you crash into a shock absorber or the car in front, the driver's legs could be severely injured, yet they are still being sold. It's embarrassing anywhere in the world, and due to safety regulations, these cars can't be exported to places like the US or other countries. In Korea, the Porter EV and Bongo EV should not be sold. They are, in a way, terrible vehicles. It's unfortunate that such poorly functioning cars are still being sold. If Korea can replace these with proper vehicles, it is absolutely essential, and the PV5 torch could certainly bring about significant change. A cargo model arrives. The cargo model can carry various things in the back, including a regular horn. A refrigerated truck is also available. Usually operating a refrigerated truck is not that easy. You need to have a lot of experience to know how to handle it. However, since the infotainment system in the center is directly linked to how the temperature inside is and how to adjust it, it seems much easier to operate. Also, an open bed is provided. For trucks, the size is usually determined by how many pallets can fit, right? But the PB5 open bed is said to have space for 2 pallets, so it can replace a typical Porter. The loading space is slightly smaller than a Porter, but it can be considered similar. However, it protrudes more than a Porter, so safety should be much better. The TV5, for instance, has a standard passive card, so it will definitely undergo crash tests. Considering all these factors, it seems like it could be a much better choice for those who drive with anxiety in a Porter or Bongo. And fundamentally, the concept of an open truck itself is a bit... It seems like there might be a need for this to disappear. Our country's regulations allow open beds too broadly. You can load cargo onto an open bed and just enter the highway without any issues. Even if something flies off on the highway, it's just accepted. Foreigners might find this absurd, as there are hardly any countries where commercial vehicles are this open. So, to summarize, they are allowing various configurations for trucks now. The back can be refrigerated or just cargo, and the refrigerated section can open on both sides like this. An open truck is also provided. It is being offered in various ways. Next is the CC cab. The CC cab is a vehicle where the rear part has no cargo area at all. Only the frame is provided. It has wheels and a frame like this. You are supposed to install the back part yourself. That's what it means. Kia is expected to offer a variety of options for this as well. Currently, the concept of PBV is to create a variety of these, so Kia will offer various installations for this part. Depending on the type of business you want, we'll do this for you. Some people might want to turn it into a camper van business and create a puncture theme here. Others might set it up as a broadcasting studio. The place where we're filming now could fit about 2 puncture transmissions, and you could use this space directly in the car. The utility is really high, right? I almost got kicked out recently for setting up Hubsay puncture speakers at home. I can't listen to them. Even the TV at home is this big, and I'm still watching it. They won't let me set up a TV. Naturally, I hope they provide an AV system that allows you to properly set up audio and video. Parking in the underground garage costs about 30,000 won, right? It would be great if you could park it for 30,000 won and go down every night to enjoy audio and video there. The truck bed part alone is about 1.5 pyong. If the driver's seat and the back are open, you could turn the driver's seat around to watch the screen in the back or listen to audio. It's like having a small room in an apartment. Oh, that's nice. It's a small room, but you can move it. You don't just enjoy it in the underground parking lot. You can enjoy it by the sea or in the mountains. It seems like it would be great in many ways. If you're going to play the violin or piano, soundproofing at home is no easy task. Then why not soundproof the car and carry the piano around to play? Can't you carry drums around and play them too? I think these things could be possible. Anyway, it seems like a car with endless possibilities. It's amazing that you can have so many different punctures so freely. How did this become possible? It's said that this is because, for the first time in our country, a dedicated PBV platform called the ES platform has been introduced. The ES platform completely separates the upper body of the car from the lower part, allowing for a structure designed to flexibly accommodate various bodies. The battery, driving system and such are not included in the upper body at all, but are all completed in the lower part, kept as low as possible to provide design freedom above. This platform allows for easy changes to various bodies, batteries and systems. Therefore, it is said that a variety of PBVs can be offered, including for passengers, transport, and even autonomous shuttles. There is a slight variation from the concept car we saw at CS last time. What's different is that the concept car had a display on the front that showed text, which was cool, but why did they remove it even though it was impressive? The shock absorber was impressive, but why did they remove it even though it was impressive? I do feel a bit disappointed. The location of the charging port is somewhat unsatisfactory. Isn't having it completely at the front a bit inconvenient? Since the front isn't that long, front parking might not be that inconvenient, but still, it's a bit disappointing. So will PB5 actually be used commercially? Honestly, I'm a bit skeptical. I'm really curious about what the price will be. But they say contracts have already been signed even before its release. They've already signed a supply contract with DHL Korea, and it will be supplied starting in 2026. So, for now, they will first supply the standard PB5, and while using it, they will create a DHL-specific PB5 tailored to various requirements of DHL Korea. That's what they say. And they also plan to supply it to Korea Electric Power Corporation. Since Korea Electric Power Corporation obviously has to handle various tasks related to electricity, they will need a lot of electric vehicles, and cars like the PB5, and they plan to support V2G as well, but I'll take some time later to explain V2G in more detail. They also say they will support PNC charging. Instead of plugging in the car and inserting a credit card to start charging, they will implement a system where charging automatically begins just by plugging in the car. The next car introduced is the EV2 concept. This is a surprise horn. Because we didn't know a car called EV2 was going to be released? Looking at its design, it looks like this. It's so pretty, isn't it? It's beautiful, right? It's quite amazing since the EV wasn't even mentioned last time. It's called EV2, right? Then, of course, it would be smaller than the EV3, right? And naturally, the price will be more affordable. It's planned to be released in the UK as a £25,000 car. That's how it was discussed. Hey, what's this? 4,000, 5,000. Isn't that too expensive? You might say that, but it's not as much as you think. Because the Casper Electric is 27.4 million Zuz won in our country. But in the UK, it's 42.6 million won. It's a 2 million won difference with the Casper Electric. So it's 45 million won in the UK now. This means that in our country, it would only be about 29 million won. A car priced at 29 million won is coming out. Excellent, excellent. Finally, a car priced at 29 million won is coming out in our country. With subsidies, you can buy this 29 million won electric car for under 20 million won depending on the region, or even for a few million won less than 10 million won. Of course, in places like Seoul, you can buy it for just over 20 million won. Wow, this is how it comes out. It makes me think a bit about the Casper Electric Company. Let's take a closer look at whether this is really a good car. Although it's said to be a concept design, looking at what Kia has been doing lately, concept designs just come out as mass production, so it seems it will definitely be mass produced like this. It has a very unique and very appealing design. According to Kia, the concept EV2 is an innovative and adventurous compact SUV. It is designed to be suitable for both urban and outdoor lifestyles. The front is very unique, featuring a split-shaped star map signature lighting on the side view mirror, and it has a very robust body, emphasizing a confident and sophisticated appearance. The front design extends to both sides. Extending all the way like this, Kia is doing well with this lately, making the small car not look small at all, which is also impressive. By using vertical lamps like this, even the turn signal lamps on the side view mirror are using vertical lamps in this way. This is interesting too. The grille part is slightly recessed, and you can see that this is the tiger nose, also called the digital tiger nose or digital tiger face, continuing the design. It's interesting and looks very stylish. It seems to be used as an element to show that it's a traditional maker, a maker with history. I like it. Although it has changed a lot, there are still many elements that let you know it's Kia. The wheels are also quite unique and stylish. The wheels are designed like this, slightly bent inward and bent like this. It's cool. The square is a square, but it's not flat. It's bent diagonally inward. These things look very stylish. Being a square while also having curves, it doesn't look too rigid and expresses graceful curves very well. With wheel designs like this, I would definitely include them. I can slightly see the transmission specs now. It says 175 on the transmission specs. Isn't 175 too small? 175 millimeters is really thin. The Casper electric size is 185, 65, 15 inches. So it's even smaller than that. It's a unique wheel. With proper cladding, it expresses that this is not just a small urban car, but an SUV. It seems like it would be very cute. Connecting the tail lamps and cladding is also a very interesting element. Anyway, this car seems like it will have a very pretty design. Who will be the first to reveal this car on YouTube? Probably me, right? I'll be the first to show it to you, but what do you need to do to see it? You need to subscribe, like, and set notifications right now. Please click here to subscribe. I'll go and show it to you directly. Since it's a small SUV, it has a very unique design. When you look at cars these days, the rear windows tend to recline more and more, showing a sleeker design. However, since the EV2 is such a small car, you can see it standing upright like this. The Kia EV2 concept looks like this, and when we show you our transmission photos, it looks like this. Some said it looks like a Casper, but it's actually a Kia Casper. The car that evolved from the Kia Casper is the EV2. It seems to be the production model. It looks like it will be released soon. Various specifications of this car have been partially revealed. According to the articles, it is said that both NCM and LFP battery models will be steering wheel. Those who criticize LFP might be shocked to hear this, but Kia plans to include both LFP and NCM batteries this time as well. Of course, they can't avoid it. They must include LFP because Chinese cars entering Europe are being sold at low prices with LFP. If we say we can't use LFP and sell ours at a higher price, will it sell? Naturally, they have to include LFP, and it's not just for Europe, but also for India, China, and other emerging markets. It's an unavoidable reality. However, unfortunately, there is no guarantee that this car will be produced and launched in our country. The plan is still shock absorber. Of course, plans can always change depending on how much consumers want it. So if you say, please sell the EV2 in our country too, who knows? It might happen. It might be too small for Kia to handle, but it could be made by a company like Donghe Auto. It is said that it will be produced at the European Slovakia plant and sold as an electric car in Europe. Just like we have the Casper Electric in our country, if such models are released here, they could also gain significant popularity. We briefly looked at several cars that Kia has revealed through teasers, and it feels like we're seeing the future of Kia. Everything is planned with the transmission, with the goal of becoming the world's #1 electric car maker. Of course, companies like Tesla, Mocar, and several new makers are showing formidable capabilities. However, when looking at new makers, unfortunately, many of them lack history, or know-how, leading to trial and error. But Kia is a company that combines innovation and history, so if they transition properly, the possibilities for the future seem limitless. This change will first be seen in Europe. At the end of this month, Kia will hold the 2025 Kia EV Day in Tarragona, Spain, where all the cars I mentioned today will be unveiled as new models. We might even go there ourselves to film and show you. So what do you need to do if you want to see this? Please subscribe, like, and set notifications, and it would be great if you could join us then. Until now, I have been Mocha Kim Han Yong. Thank you.